Turning back the clock on aging. It sounds like total science fiction, right? But what if I told you that science is getting closer to making it a reality? And the answer is, well, it's not what anyone expected.
For a long time, there was this one big idea that got everyone excited, from top scientists to Silicon Valley billionaires. The question was, could the fountain of youth literally be a transfusion? I mean, it's this wild, almost vampiric idea, right? That the secret is hidden in the blood of the young. And you know what? That idea launched decades of absolutely fascinating research.
And look, this is not a new dream. People have been obsessed with rejuvenation for centuries. But in the 20th century, something changed. This old folklore, it moved out of myths and legends and straight into the laboratory. And let me tell you, that's when things got really, really weird.
Which brings us to our first stop, the truly strange world of parabiosis. Seriously, this is where that whole modern young blood theory really kicked off. We're talking about a series of incredible experiments that looked like they had proven it, that you could literally transfuse youth from one body to another.
Okay, so what you're looking at here, it's as wild as it sounds. Scientists, literally, surgically, joined two mice together. One old, one young. They stitched them together so they shared a single common circulatory system. Yeah, it's a little bit Frankenstein, I know, but it was an absolutely brilliant way to answer a really simple question. What happens when an old body gets a constant supply of young blood?
The fancy scientific name for this is heterochronic parabiosis. The key word there is heterochronic. It just means different ages. See, by getting them to share everything, blood, organs, the whole nine yards, scientists could finally see what effect all those circulating things in the blood had on aging.
And the results? Whoa, they were absolutely stunning. There was this huge landmark study back in 2005 that really blew the doors off. It showed that this procedure could actually rejuvenate the tissues in the old mice. We're talking their muscles, their livers, even their brains started acting younger. As you can imagine, this discovery sent everyone on a global treasure hunt for these magical, rejuvenating factors in young blood. So, at this point, the conclusion seemed totally obvious, right? Young blood has some kind of magic juice in it. But, like in any good scientific story, there was a plot twist. It turns out that first interpretation, it wasn't the whole story.
I mean, it seems so clear, doesn't it? The magic is in the young blood. All we gotta do is figure out what that magic is, bottle it up, and boom, we've solved aging. Case closed. Simple, right?
Well, not exactly. It turns out it wasn't simple at all. And this is where the real breakthrough comes in, thanks to a UC Berkeley professor named Irina Conboy, who was one of the original researchers on this stuff. She stepped back and said, hang on, we're assuming the young blood is adding something good, but what if there's another possibility? What if the young blood isn't adding anything, but it's just diluting all the bad stuff that's built up in the old blood? And as her team's research would later show, she was absolutely right. So check this out. This is the huge shift in thinking. The old theory was basically an addition problem. You just add the good stuff. But the new theory? It's a subtraction problem. You get rid of the bad stuff, these inhibitory factors that just build up over time. The goal isn't to inject youth, it's to flush out the garbage of old age. Okay, so if you have a brand new hypothesis like that, you need a brand new experiment to test it. The question became, if it's all about dilution, could you get the same amazing results without using any young blood at all? And the experiment they designed was just brilliant in its simplicity. It's called neutral blood exchange. Here's what they did. They took an old mouse and removed about half of its blood plasma. But, and this is the key part, instead of replacing it with young plasma, they just put back a simple mix of saline and albumin, which is just a common protein. That's it. No young blood, none. Zero.
You ready for the results? They were staggering. I mean, absolutely mind-blowing. Just this simple dilution, it had these incredible rejuvenating effects all over the body. The brain? A massive spike in new neuron growth. The muscles? They started repairing themselves like they were young again. The liver? A huge drop in age-related fat and damage. The crazy part is, the effects were just as good, and in some ways even better, than sewing two mice together.
Okay, mice are one thing, but the real question, the one we all want to know, is, does this work on people? Well, here's where the story gets even more incredible. A version of this exact procedure already exists. It's already being used in hospitals today. And that meant researchers could jump from the mouse lab to human trials way faster than they normally could. It's a procedure called therapeutic plasma exchange, or TPE for short. It's already FDA approved for things like autoimmune diseases.
Basically, a machine filters your blood, takes out the old plasma, and replaces it with a substitute fluid. And guess what that fluid is? Yep, mostly albumin and saline. It's almost the exact same thing they did with the mice.
So, what happened when they tried this on older humans? A recent trial dropped some bombshells. This procedure, all by itself, was able to reduce a person's biological age. That's not your birthday age, but how old your cells are actually acting. And the average reduction? A pretty amazing 1.32 years.
But wait, it gets even better. When they combine the TPE with another therapy to help the immune system, the average reduction in biological age jumped to a whopping 2.61 years. This was it. This proved it wasn't just some weird thing that happens in mice. It was actually working in people.
All right, so let's take a step back. What's the big picture here? After this whole wild journey from surgically joined mice all the way to human clinical trials, what's the final takeaway? Let's wrap this all up. It's pretty fascinating when you put the results side by side. For humans, we've seen this incredible reduction in biological age, which is huge. But we don't know for sure yet if that means we'll actually live longer. But in the animal studies, the rats, they saw real measurable lifespan extension. We're talking 4 to 5 months longer. And that's on top of all the tissue rejuvenation. So let's just nail down the key insights from all this. First, that whole young blood thing, it's pretty much a myth. Second, it looks like a big driver of aging is just the accumulation of junk, these inhibitory factors in our blood. And third, and this is the most exciting part, you don't need magic. Just diluting that junk can trigger a massive molecular reset that makes organs healthier in mice and in us.
So, what's the bottom line for us? Now, we got to be clear, we don't have the human lifespan data yet. But the animal studies give us a seriously tantalizing clue. For a rat, living an extra 4 to 5 months is like adding about 15% to its total lifespan. Now, what if, and this is a big if, but what if that translated directly to humans? We'd be talking about gaining the equivalent of several years of extra healthier life. It turns out the fountain of youth might not be about drinking something magical. It might just be about rinsing out the pipes and washing away the baggage of time.